as Lady Gaga said, you are born this way, and for me, I can't really change who I am as a person. I have to, appreciate on how I was born.
The glitz and glam is the fame, but it's the work backstage that makes the game. I'm Crystel and Bandal, your host. Come with me behind the lens and watch their stories unfold. Our next guest here at Behind the Lens is a pageant king and national director for a competition here in Australia. I can't wait to hear more about his role, how he's juggling so many things at once, and to learn more about what's going on behind the scenes for them. Please welcome onto Behind the Lens, Pham. Now that comes from your side as also not just a director, but you're also a mentor yourself. You called yourself as a role model, and that's what you really are as a director, being able to speak to the parents and also the contestants. But when it comes to reaching, let's say, the goal or the passion that they have, that they want to achieve, do you think it's also important for them to put in the work, or does it always have to be you giving it to them?
Of course, I agree. They have to put in the work for it, for them to be able to get somewhere as well. Because for me, if someone said they wanted to go internationally, for example, I'm like, yeah, sure, I can get you internationally, but then you're the one competing, so you have to put in that level of thing that we're going to give back to you, even if it's saying that you're going internationally in 12 months, for example. So you need to start putting in the work for all the community works, all the outfits, all the training that you need to do, because it's not just one person looking at you, it's like the world looking at you and all that as well. And I like to take things slowly, so I like to work out, so this may sound like high school over again, I like to put down their strengths, their weaknesses, what they need to achieve, what they want to do, or what they need to work on, for example, and then we take it one step at a time, so that when the time comes and they are on that stage, they know exactly what they need to do. But I always like to tell each of my contestants, just think of it that you are in the top 5 already. What would you do when you reach the top 5? Always set a higher goal for yourself. Even if the goal is overly extremely high, just set it. But we will take our time working towards it. But as I said, I can be as much of a role model as I can, but people do need to put in what they need to do as well. Because if you put in a lot of work, of course something amazing is going to happen to you. If you do 50-50 and all that as well, and for example, if I was doing more, then that doesn't really balance out the fairness of what you want to achieve, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, it definitely does. It's like you're there to guide them. You're not there to spoon feed them everything. Even though you might have connections, you have mentors there that's ready to help them out in any of the weaknesses that they want to strengthen. At the end of the day, it comes to what are they willing to take in? What are they willing to do for themselves to achieve what they actually want, or what they're dreaming of?
Yes. You know what I've realized about myself tonight? I like to explain things in very long sentences.
But it's sometimes actually better that way, because when you're trying to express yourself, sometimes there's too many things going on in your mind, especially for a person like you who has so many roles in different things. You're a director, you're a model, actress, you're also backstage, you're doing management, all these different things. You have perspectives from all of those roles, and it's all just coming to you. So you're able to provide I would say that it's a pretty unique perspective to be able to answer the questions that I've given you. You've given a full perspective on your pageant and also just the industry, the pageant industry in general. And it's actually allowed us to dig really deep, because not only have you talking about the importance of really planning out the competition. If you're someone who's wanting to create a big event like this, where you're going to be taking care of many people, you're going to be helping them overcome their fears, you're going to be able to, you want to help them in their self-development, you have to really plan it out and have people back you up. But also keep yourself positive. That was one of your key things that I took away from you when you were saying, when we were talking about how did you handle having all these roles at once. You keep yourself positive, because if you all of a sudden let that little tiny bit of negativity knock you all the way down, create a domino effect, it's going to ruin a lot of things. So hats off to you for being able to handle all of these things at once, but at the same time bring so many people up with you as a director and role model. Now, you're talking a lot about experiences and how you value being able to know your contestants, because you know the challenges that they could be experiencing from a young age, or some of the challenges that they're experiencing inside as an adult as well. What are some of the other challenges that you've experienced, aside from, you know, people thinking that you won't become a model or an actor? What are the challenges that you've experienced?
For me personally, I think, you know, I go through, you know, a lot of challenges, and the main challenge is basically my body type and how I weigh very less and how I don't eat a lot, which is kind of true. For me, I'm not confident about stepping foot onto a beach, for example, because I feel like people are going to judge, you know, what I look like, how skinny I am, or like, you know, like everything else to do with your body. And like, I never wear shorts as well, which is, you know, weird. Like, I go to Asia and I'm still wearing jeans. Like, you know, and I really don't like showcasing that many part of my body out, because I feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me and all that as well. But over the years that have gone by, I actually set myself a new goal, and that was to become a male model in the industry that we are in today. And even though it was a very hard thing to really overcome, because, you know, you go through like a lot of rejections from time to time, and people will literally tell you the same thing. But, you know, this year I was actually given that opportunity to become a male model for a company that really respects, you know, who you are, and, you know, what the industry is now looking for, because the industry is now changing by a lot. And, you know, when I first got the call for an interview, I was like, is this real? Like, to begin off with. But then after that, they were like, no, we're going to accept you into the industry, because like they've seen me grow from, you know, not having any experience to having a lot of experience in like just the commercial world, but not really modeling world, because I've never, you know, been able to do that. And then, you know, I had to go through like a lot of rejections to get to where I'm sitting today. And, you know, I can't wait for the first modeling gig. That's what I'm very excited about. Or even just being like, you know, one of my goals is to be like the next top model, for example, and all that as well. But, you know, whatever life throws at me, I'm going to accept it now. Like, I hardly say no to anything now. I like to say yes, because if I don't say yes, I'm going to regret it, and I don't like to regret things in my life. So let's just hope whatever the next big thing is in reality TV, let's hope that comes to plan, because I would love to show more about myself, not just about the workaholic side of things, but just my normal self that not many people were able to see. So yeah, well, I think one of my biggest challenges is definitely being skinny, working too hard, and not showing more about myself. Yeah.
So let's break those three down really quickly. So talking about body image, that's a big thing for a lot of people, whether you're young, whether you're an adult, or whatever age you are, a lot of people go through it. How do you kind of build the confidence, or how do you overcome the need to become perfect, or feeling like your body type isn't good enough?
I feel like you can't really be perfect with yourself, because we all have something that we dislike about ourselves and all that as well. But for me now, like when I'm on the streets or going to my next audition, for example, like I see people who are exactly like me, and I have to put myself into that that positive mind is as Lady Gaga said, you are born this way, and for me, I can't really change who I am as a person. I have to, appreciate on how I was born, and now I'm trying to get myself out of that phase where even though you're skinny, you can still do this, you can still wear that. Like no one's going to judge you, and the only person that are going to judge you are probably those people that are either jealous of you or someone that that is a hater. And as I said, I will turn that into a positive and I will make it work for myself.
That's true. And sometimes it could also be a tough critic on yourself, feeling like you need to fit in and somebody else's mold. Now let's talk a little bit about your second challenge that you mentioned was working too hard.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a challenge for you to be working too hard? Talk me through it. Why do you think that's a challenge to be working too hard?
I feel like sometimes when I finish my work and I come home and I do more work, for example, like I don't really have time for myself. So time for myself meaning like yoga or, well, I don't do yoga, but I don't know how that, but maybe I should meditate one day and see like how I go, or like just watching Netflix or just having fun. Like my mind, I'm constantly thinking of what's going to happen the next day or the next week. And I feel like I don't really, so the only time where I hang out with people is either when we go out to dinner or we're at a social event or we're just at an event in general. But I'm always by myself, and I feel like, I know you haven't asked this yet, I am an only child. I feel like I've learned how to be sometimes by myself. I like some time to myself rather than just hanging out with other people, if that makes any sense. But I just love working. Like I don't know why.
Do you
weird.
find happiness in it? Do you feel happy?
Yeah. I really do, because even when I'm working on the pageant, for example, my crew, some of them are in Melbourne, some of them are like interstate, New South Wales and Hobart. Like I still get the chance to like Zoom call or like Skype them in and be like, this, we're gonna have some fun with what we're doing now and whatnot. So I feel like, no, actually, at the end of the day, I feel like when I'm working as well, I get to have fun with my crew or my friends who are also in that crew as well. I feel like that's the same thing as like hanging out with them normally. Yeah.
So you feel like you're working too much to the point where you don't have, let's say, the time that you wish you would have had to yourself, or to be able to hang out with other people. And you're at an event and you're hanging out with other people anyway, and you feel like it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, to be honest. Like every single year I'm like, okay, March, Fashion Week's gonna hit, or June, it's gonna be like the food and wine show month and all that as well, or like the end of the year, there's so many pageants, like you get to see people again. So I feel like blending things in really work for me. And like when this might sound extremely funny, when I'm at an event, especially a fashion event, like I am there to have fun, but I'm also there to think about, what does the production look like? What can we take from it? How does everything work? Like I'm constantly thinking of things, and it's weird.
So you're curious to see what life is like, not having the constant, what are you gonna call it? The constant need to find something to do or create something out of what you're seeing right now. It's like what you said, you're at an event and you see something nice and you're like, how can I incorporate this into my event? Or how can I put this into my event? How am I going to bring this into life? Or what can I do with a 5-day pageant? Your mind's constantly working. So I feel like the challenge for you, what you were talking about, is finding peace in just loving the work that you're doing, because I think that you're doing perfectly fine, and I think you're doing really great with
thank you.
everything that you're doing and being able to juggle things. Not only do you have just like a regular job, you're able to socialize with people that way, and you're also able to socialize with people in a different circle in the pageant industry as you're directing
Of
and
course.
mentoring all of these different kinds of people. And I also feel like when you said that you like being alone, I feel like that's the time to yourself. That's
Is
your
it?
time to just enjoy
Yeah.
being you, and
Yeah.
just enjoy your own space without other people being there. As
Absolutely. And
introverted as it sounds, sometimes that's what you need when you're doing so many things at once.
absolutely. Oh, there's also one more thing I want to add in as well. This might be like my other side job for the future. It'll be like the 100 side job I have. But as I was saying before, like, when I go to events, I also like to look at production and all that as well. Like, now I'm more interested in like working in the TV, like television side of things as well. I know it's a bit weird. I just came up with it last night. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have another role. Maybe I should do this. But then people are just like to me, are you sure you can handle another task and challenge? And I'm like, maybe. It's
Why
just a
not?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, no.
And we'll get you back on here on Behind the Lens, and we'll get an update on what you've been up to.
Yes, I'll be your camera assistant.
Now let's talk about your third challenge you were talking about.
Yep.
Being able to express yourself more, being able to be more open in general. Talk me through that. Why is that a challenge for you, do you think?
I'm not really someone who opens up about my life a lot, even if it's with like relationship issues or crisis, we should say, or something that's happening with me. Like, I'm not really a fan of like talking about it, because then someone's gonna be sad, someone's gonna be angry and all that as well, and it's something that that is another challenge for me as well. Like, I really don't know how to stand my ground properly. I don't know how to win an argument, for example, and I just don't like being sad, because when I'm sad, it's ugly and all that as well. But I feel like for me, like, I haven't had a normal life since high school, when I'm just my normal self. Now it's just like go, be the best version of you, be a role model to others, and not being able to have that fun life back again, like, of just being chill and being able to talk about anything, and all that as well. Like, I don't know how to take a step back and be a normal person. It's like I'm living, so my normal personnel doesn't exist, and I'm living the Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana world, if that's how I was explaining it. Like, I don't know how to live that normal world. Like, I'm pretty sure I would have a lot of other hobbies apart from doing pageants and all that as well. Like, my only hobbies that I can think of is like going to the arcade and having fun, but then at the same time I'm thinking about what I can do with the arcade, or what I can do with food I'm eating, or anything like that. I feel like everything just falls back into work, but not me, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Now I'm curious to think, why do you want to take a step back? What about it do you want? Like, why do you want to take a step back, or why do you feel like you can't reach that part of you?
I think my only thing that I can think of at the moment is I just want to take a break from all these madness, because this industry is so it changes so fast. Like, I just want to take a holiday and like not talk to anyone. Maybe have my friends with me by the, I don't know, in Hawaii with like margaritas or something, for example, and stuff. Like, I just want that life back. And every single year I keep telling myself, I'm gonna take a break from pageants. I'm gonna take a break. And then this happens, and then we had to move it to this time, and then all my plans just gets pushed back, and I'm just like, no, this is not happening. Like, this year I was supposed to go to America to volunteer at Miss Variety International, so that I have an understanding of how I can bring this pageant down to Australia and make it, you know, the best time. And you know, even though I have two girls who are so lovely who are competing, like it will be like my time off to just do something that I like, and at the same time, like you do get a holiday out of it as well. But you know, like that didn't happen, and everything just fell back, and I'm just like, great, time to work more. So hopefully maybe in 2023 to 2024, that would be my break year. Yeah.
Seems like you're looking forward to it and already planning ahead of time.
Yes.
Now, speaking of how your plans have been pushed back, obviously because of the pandemic, a lot of things have been put in place, and events can't really happen at the moment because of, you know, you can't put anyone's safety at risk, especially at a time like this where you don't really know if you've got the virus or not unless you've been tested. How have you been handling this situation in your pageant?
It was very hard. So in the last 2 or 3 months, we were basically telling all of our contestants that the pageant will go ahead. It will go ahead. Like nothing will happen. But then, you know, a month ago, we started to feel so much pressure in, you know, in not letting anyone know on how we're doing. Like for me, I had a you know, several weeks of, oh my god, like this event is not going ahead, like, you know, and like I never told anyone about it, and I just, you know, I went on like a 1 week like hiatus from just pageantry, just to think about, you know, about the pageant and what will be best for all of us. And when we made the decision to postpone the event till next year, it was probably one of the, you know, best decisions that I ever made, because like it really lifted a weight off my shoulder, knowing that other people are also agreeing to what we're presenting to them. And, you know, as I've said, it gives us more time to prepare for things. Even if plans get pushed back and all that as well, the contestants also have more time to prepare on what they need to do, and then we can throw them more obstacles along the way as well, with the pageant. But for me, as I said, I like to turn things around. I like to keep thinking of the positive side and seeing what we could do to make the event more successful. But it was definitely very, very challenging, and hopefully this virus never happens again.
Yeah, and hopefully it's over soon, and we can finally cross borders freely again, be attending social events without having to worry too much, just like before. How do you think this pandemic has affected the pageant industry, especially for you as the director? How do you think has it affected other directors as well?
Of course. I think I would rephrase it. I think it has affected the entertainment industry as a whole, because not only just pageants, but like weddings and music festivals and all the things that we'd like to enjoy. Like we're basically out of a job. We basically have to step into a new job to do something temporary and just leave our job behind and all that as well. And like, you know, without the entertainment industry, there's no fun for anything. Like there's nothing that we can do that can enlighten, you know, not just you, but, you know, everyone else who loves, you know, the same thing as well. But I feel like the economy has decreased in terms of events and all that as well, because now we don't know when anything's going to happen or when flights are going to go back and all that as well, because without those things, nothing can come together, no matter if it's just an Australian event or an international program that they're doing, or even if you're a fan of like going to Europe to go to Tomorrowland, for example. Like none of that can happen. And yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad that we can't put ourselves out there anymore, because now we have to take like a little step back just to do the daily job before rethinking about, you know, how we supposed to, you know, turn a negative reputation back into a positive reputation, how we can, you know, have all of our clientele back as well. So it's difficult. It's very difficult.
There's definitely a lot to think of. So when you mentioned the weight being lifted off your shoulders once you announced that you're going to be postponing your event until next year, I definitely felt that for you.
Yeah,
I definitely did. Now, when it comes to, let's say, let's say they're flattening the curve or things are starting to recover and businesses are reopening, do you think that the event or entertainment industry is going to struggle going back up?
I really think we will 100%, because people will still be worried about if this virus will ever come back or what's going to happen next in the world. And I feel like we just need to take it one step at a time. For me, of course, I'm thinking ahead to the event, but I'm also taking into consideration like the health and safety of everyone who's involved in this, because they're not just coming from Victoria, they're coming from interstate and all that as well. But I feel like if people do listen to what the government or whatnot are saying, and that they know what they need to do, then hopefully the entertainment field can be more better at what they do at the moment, or what they offer, because I want to see people happy. I want to see weddings happen. I want to see people go to Coachella and have the best time of their life. I want to see myself back into the fashion spotlight, for example, because I miss doing it. And I just want to see people be happy again. And let's just hope that next year everything is fine by mid-year.
Yes, that's true. And I would definitely say, like, for me as well, it felt a little weird to not have events for us to go to, especially for us for here at Behind the Lens. Usually we'd be coming to events and interviewing people, and now we're just here. We have to stick with being able to do online interviews. How does that feel for you to have to move everything online, especially when you're having to contact, let's say, your team members? Are you still in contact with your contestants as well for your pageant during this time online?
I am. We stay in contact. So we have a Facebook group, and we stay in contact with every single contestant because we really want to see what they're doing as well. Even though their journey may have been paused for now, the pageant journey will still continue. So we actually raise money for the Ellen Funds, which is a very big charity that I've always wanted to be involved with and whatnot as well. So none of that is paused. People are still going to donate. People are still going to continue their journeys. But it's definitely been hard because, since the journey has been paused for some of them and they will come back to it when it gets closer, we still offer them, what we are going to offer. So over the next couple of months, before that the pageant actually recommences again, we're going to offer them our girls again, our royal court from 2019, 2020 now, and we're probably going to do like a workshop with each division so that we get to see where they're up to, what they need to learn about the event, or what they need to learn about themselves with walking, outfits and all that as well. Like, we're basically making a program that will fit that. It's a lot of work, I can tell you that. That program has I've been thinking about it for about 2-3 years already and all that. So once it all comes together, we're going to have an amazing thing to showcase to them.
That's really cool. Now, what would you say has been something that you've learned during this time of, difficulty or this whole negative space of being in a pandemic? What has been something you've learned as a director as you stay in contact with your team, your contestants? What has been your biggest takeaway from this time?
Well, I've learned that I shouldn't be too stressed with everything because I'm normally the one that's stressed, and that I shouldn't overthink a lot of situations. So like I just need to take it one step at a time rather than, going zoom up into space all of a sudden. We're literally up there. So I feel like that's how I would say it, because normally, as I said, I'm always thinking too much, and I'm always thinking like over the top on how I can make this an amazing like pageant. But I just need to take it one step at a time, and I just need to think, okay, this is what the world is going through. What do I need to do in order for the event to run, but slowly, not too fast? Yeah, because, just in case you reach next year and, the pandemic is still happening, or some other disease is happening as well at the same time, like, you can't really you can't think over the top. You just have to take it slowly. Yeah.
That's really true. That's also very applicable to anyone, really, with anything that you do in life, whether that be managing an event or just completing an assignment. You got to take it one step at a time and trust the process and just enjoy every single step of the way. Now, I would really like to ask, what has been your favorite moments as a director?
Oh no. My favorite moment of being a director. Oh my god, there's so many. Yeah. Well, firstly, launching the pageant is definitely one of the favorite moments. Like, you know, it really, you know, I love to see, you know, my plans come down onto the event day and seeing that people are happy with it as well. Other things are, oh my gosh, there's so many. You know, seeing what the contestants go through, you know, with the pageant career. But I think one of the most saddest things that I've experienced, and I don't know if this is my favorite moment as well, is when they do their final walk and then you're standing there, you're asking the question, but you're also crying and sobbing at the same time and whatnot, because, you know, each and every contestant touches my heart, or, you know, and, you know, they all go through their challenges, obstacles, hardships, and all that as well. And I feel like in general, my favorite moment is seeing them grow throughout their journey and seeing what a 6-year-old in 10 years time is up to and all that as well. So that's what I like about being a director. Yeah, well, technically I just like everything. So let's just go with that. Yeah.
You can definitely tell that you have a lot of passion for what you're doing right now. What are you hoping to see more of in the pageant industry?
Seeing more of? Interesting question. I think.
Or is there anything that you would want to change?
I think just like I really want to see more diversity in pageants. Like, it's not all about blondes and brunettes. It's all about, like, you know, different body types and, you know, having a variety of different contestants compete. I know, like, one of the biggest factors half the time is, you know, if you're an Australian, but then you also have some Aboriginal cultures, and normally not many people agree on that. And for me, I'm just like, if they're Australian, if they're Aboriginal, if they're Vietnamese, Chinese, or whatever race they are, then like, we don't really have, like, people don't have to critique, you know, one person because they're this or they're that. And, like, I hopefully that changes within the industry so that we do have more diverse contestants that are competing in any pageant, to be honest, no matter what race you are. So I really want that to change. And, you know, even if you are Australian and you have something to do with the Aboriginal culture, or they're wearing a national costume that represents the Aboriginal culture, like, I really just want people to have more of an open mind and just to be like, you know, these people love doing what they're doing at the moment, so, like, just give them the opportunity. Why be like a critique or like a hater, for example? Yeah.
That's really true, and I feel like we've definitely taken a big step compared to, let's say, decades ago. We've taken a good step forward into diversity and we're becoming more accepting, but there's definitely been a lot of talk as well, like what you're talking about, how people still need to have a more open mind when it comes to competitions like this, when you're choosing, you know, contestants, or even you as someone who could be watching this right now and feel like they can't compete for a certain title because they don't fit the look. You know, you need to take all those stereotypes out of your mind and just go for it, because you're going to have an amazing time regardless.
Absolutely.
You know, you're not there for the look, you're there for the personal development and improving on yourself.
That's correct. And it's just like explaining, like, you know, in sports, or, you know, in dancing or singing or any of that, like, all of us, we're all different in what we do. So it's, you know, what you think is what you think. I was trying to figure out like a good quote for that, but I couldn't figure out anything.
Now, I also just wanted to touch on a really quick, might be sensitive depending on you. What has been the most challenging moment of your life, and what was your biggest lesson from it?
Biggest challenge in my life. Oh no. I think the biggest challenge in my life is just figuring out where I sit in my career. You know, as of the moment, like I feel like I am set with my career, but at the same time, I really want to do more in like other industries that I've never touched, like television, for example, or working behind the scenes as a production assistant, for example. Like I'm very interested in all that, but I think it's just finding where I sit and where I belong, and seeing what I'm going to do when I'm 45 years old, for example. But as I said, I'm constantly thinking of other things to do. Yeah, I feel like that's a challenge within myself. Like I'm not always set on one thing. Like I like to move on and experience other things. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
I think it keeps you on your toes, definitely.
Yeah.
And you're able to experience so many different things, experience it, and then come back to, let's say, being a director and continuing to be a role model for many other people to inspire them. Because, you know, it might have been different on your side as well, where you wish that you had more mentors, or you wish you knew this, or you wish you knew that. And for you to be experiencing so many different things allows you to educate others, because you already have all of that in your mind.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, what are you most excited about in the future? You have so many things planned in the future. You want to turn your pageant into like a 5-day event. You want to be more involved in the television industry. You want to be more involved in the production of that side, behind the scenes. So many different things you want to go through. What are you looking forward to the most in the future?
In the future, oh my god, that is another hard question, because I don't even know where my headspace is at the moment. And
so many things coming through your mind.
Yeah,
so many things you want to do in the future.
like you can probably just see my head working, like on how to answer that question. Well, I hope that in the future I am still successful as I am now. I hope to win the tax lotto one day, to take a big holiday, and to give my family, like, you know, my mum and dad, like, a great living out of that. I feel like if I was setting a goal at the moment for me, I would love for, if I was still in the pageant world, I would love to take back my events world, where I was organizing fashion shows, weddings, music festivals, and I would like to combine all that back to not only just organize this, but to organize a variety of different things, because, you know, events management is something that I really would like to do. I think one of my other goals was to also work for the Miss Universe organization one day. I would love to live in New York or live in the US and just do that, because I feel like it's just such an amazing opportunity. One of my goals was to definitely work for Victoria's Secret, the fashion show, but that kind of blew out of the water, so that doesn't happen anymore. But I feel like it will have to be something to do with television, something to do with events, just combining the two and see how we go, to be honest. But hopefully I do retire soon from the events well, but not quite yet.
Seems like you still have a lot of things you want to experience, and with the work ethic that you're showing and the excitement and the passion that you're showing, I definitely feel like you'll get there one day and tick off all of the little goals that you've set for yourself one by one. You know, as you said, one step at a time. And we really can't wait for you to see you progress and accomplish all of those things as well. We wish you all the best as well in managing and creating your event and postponing it for next year. I'm sure that your contestants, or candidates you might say, are having a great time, being able to focus more on themselves, and also for you to continuously plan and improve the event that you've already had in your mind. Thank you so much for being here at Behind the Lens.
No problem. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Now I really just want to meet you in person, just give you like a big hug, virtual hug.
Yeah, well, once everything is over and all the borders open, everybody can travel with no worries. We definitely will meet up one day, and hopefully get to see some of your contestants come to your show as well and get to interview them as well, get to know more of your team and how you're bringing it to life.
Of course, and you have to be prepared because I'm very loud in like my excitement, so I'll be running to you and be like, Crystal!
I'll be prepared. I'm mentally prepared already.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm sure many others will too.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Behind the Lens.
From a young age, he's always been interested in the entertainment industry. He's loved watching Miss Universe, and from there, he's wanted to compete in a pageant himself. And from there, he's earned his own titles. And after that, he's decided to build his own pageant, his own empire, to be able to create a new system here in Australia that prioritizes personal development, that really nurtures confidence and being able to find your own passion and dreams and thriving off that. I also loved how he talked about the challenges that he's experienced and how he used those lessons to become a role model, to become a better mentor for everyone that he's bringing along in his journey. I really hope that you guys learned a lot from Hung today. I definitely did, especially hearing from someone who is a workaholic himself. I've learned a lot from his work ethic, and I really can't wait to implement that on myself, and I'm sure you guys will too. Remember that this is Behind the Lens. The glitz and glam is the fame, but it's the work backstage that makes the game. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you guys next time.